Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make is a very quick caramel frosting. Now, if you particularly don't like this particular recipe, I do have a couple other caramel frosting or icings on my channel, and if you're looking for any kind of other frostings or icings, well, I've got a lot on my channel. So let's get started. First, you're going to need to do this on your stove or your cooktop, just like I'm doing here today. You're going to put 1 cup of brown sugar, and I'm just going to break that up with my spoon. And then you're also going to be putting in 5 tablespoons of butter. I cut it up into small pieces because I think it starts to melt quicker that way. And you're going to just keep stirring this till it becomes melted. Now, once the butter starts to melt a little bit, I'm going to put 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt in it. I'm just waiting for that butter to melt with the brown sugar. Now, I have it on a high temperature because of the video, but you won't want it on too high, about medium on your stove. Now, once that butter starts to melt, put your 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt in and stir it. Now, I'm going to show you what I got so far. Okay, like that. Alrighty, I hope you can see that. There's still a little bit of butter. Alright, now I'm going to just lower my heat a little bit here because I don't want it to burn, but I do want it to begin a boil. And as soon as you see the first boil, it doesn't have to be a rolling boil, just that you see those bubbles come up, then I want you to start adding milk, okay? All right, now I'm just waiting on that boil, and okay, and it's ready. All right, and now I'm going to be putting in 1/3 cup of milk. All right, now once you get the milk in, okay, then what I do is I like to boil it for 3 minutes, okay? And again, you don't want it on too high of a temperature. I'm keeping mine up a little bit because, I want to move it along due to the video, okay? And I'm not going to have you just sit through here for 3 minutes of time, but I do want to bring it to a boil. Okay, and just for the sake of the video, I'm going to, move it along. But again, boil it for about 3 minutes. Again, I wouldn't boil it on a real, rolling boil, just a very soft boil because you don't want to burn it. All right. Now, while I'm waiting for that to start to boil a little bit, you're going to need powdered sugar. And this is where you can kind of tweak the recipe to however you like it. I usually use 1 cup of powdered sugar. Okay, it just started to boil, and this is when I would time it for the 3 minutes, but we're going to move it along. But if you want to make a little bit more frosting, or you like it a little bit sweeter, I would suggest 1.5 cups. If you find that that's still not even sweet enough for you, go ahead and use 2 cups. But I always stay within 1 or 1.5. So I have 1 cup in the bowl now. Okay? And the idea is that you just got to keep stirring this. After you add the milk and you boil it for 3 minutes, that's when you're going to put the powdered sugar in, okay? And now I'm going to put in 1/2 cup. So I've got 1.5. Again, tweak it however you like it. Some people like a frosting that's very, very sweet. Others don't. So you're going to have to kind of, you know, find out where you really want to be on this recipe. But it's a good one and it's an easy one, so it's well worth you trying. Now, we're also going to be putting in 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And you'll want to keep stirring it till all the little lumps and bumps go away. And they will dissolve, but it does take you a little bit of stirring. And that might take you a minute or two, or maybe even 3. But just, you do want to keep stirring. Now, once you do that, then you're going to take the pot off, of course. After that 3 minutes is over, then you're going to make sure that you cool it, because while you cool it, it's going to get thick. And a lot of times when you finish this recipe, you're going to say, oh no, I must have done something wrong. It doesn't look like it's going to thicken. It's going to be, you know, watery, or it's going to be more like a glaze. But it really does. Now, I just want to try to show you once I get all these little lumps out of here. Okay. And I would say the boiling was about maybe 1 minute. I was shy by about 2 minutes because I do like it to be a total of 3. I'll have all the directions and the ingredients below the video, because I don't want it to be, you know, confusing. Okay. You'll be able to really see that beautiful rich caramel color and the great smell of this caramel. What's nice is you don't have to use a candy thermometer or anything like that. Okay. Now this is the stage that it's at right now. And again, you'd say, oh no, it's, you know, I did something wrong, or boy, I just don't like that recipe. But you'll want to cool it. And to hurry things along, sometimes what I actually do is I put another, you know, bowl or pot with some cool water, and I set that in there to cool it really fast, especially if I want to, you know, use it for a recipe and that type of thing. So, let me move this out of the way. Okay, in fact, I'm going to unplug it. And we're going to set that aside just to let it cool. And I want to show you, this is when it's, you know, finished. And I have filled a pastry bag. Now, you certainly don't have to use a pastry bag and use a tip to, you know, use this. I want to show you basically how it looks once it's set up. And I set it up on these little mini cupcakes, which, by the way, I have a video on those as well. And then I finished and garnished them with just one little chocolate chip on the top. You don't have to do that either. And if you don't want to use a tip, you can certainly use a knife and just spread your frosting, your caramel frosting on top. You don't have to use a tip. Now I'm going to grab one of these little plain mini cupcakes. Now this doesn't make a lot of frosting. I want to warn you. It usually will cover a 1 8-inch round cake for me, or maybe around 10 cupcakes. It really depends how much frosting you put on your cakes or on your cupcakes. So I would suggest to probably double the recipe and that type of thing, okay? Now, if you also want to hurry it along faster, you can take your pot once it's cooled and put it in your refrigerator for, you know, 10 minutes or so or something like that, and it will thicken up a lot faster for you than just letting it sit out as I have it on my countertop, okay? But there you have it, a really relatively very easy, quick caramel frosting that, like I said, you can use, use your little pastry tips if you want, in a bag, or just apply it with a knife. It's a great tasting recipe. Tweak it however that you like it as far as the sweetness. And if you do try this recipe and you like it, well, leave a comment, because I always like to hear from you. And if you like this recipe, I'd appreciate a like. And then, if you're so inclined, I'd appreciate you subscribing to my channel. So thanks again for watching Diane Lovetobake. I'll see you soon.